Alright, so opening Photoshop, we're going to make our postcard file. So we're going to do File, New, and it's going to be called Last Name, First Name, Postcard 1, Last Name, First Name, Postcard 2. And the size is a specific size. Has to be this size. This counts. You can't change it unless you want to lose points. The width is 6 inches. The height is 4 inches. The resolution is 150. Six inches wide by 4 inches tall. So be aware of that. A lot of the projects we do are specific sizes, and it's usually either going to be 8 by 10 or it's going to be something else. But I do want you to pay attention to that. I want you to avoid just working on whatever size background you happen to open. Now, when we go to use our type mask tool, we're going to actually work on the pictures, and then we're going to drag them into this document when we're ready with them. So on the pictures that you guys collected yesterday, go ahead and pick the very first one that you want to use for one of your letters and open it up by dragging it into Photoshop. Now you might want to show your ruler so you can tell what size it is, and that is View, Rulers, or Apple R, Command R. You can also look under Image Size to see what size it is. And in the case of this one, it's only 1.5 by 1.5, but it's 300 pixels per inch. So when I drag it into my picture, it's going to show up bigger than it looks now. So be aware of that. The pictures are going to be different depending on what their resolution is. If the resolution's higher, picture's going to come up larger. The resolution is lower, picture's going to come up smaller. Alright, so my first thing that I'm going to do is choose my type mask tool. And when you hold down on the type tool, you want this one here, a mask. And you know, you could do vertical or horizontal, but we're going to do one letter at a time, so it doesn't really matter. Next, we're going to go and we're going to pick a thick font to work with. And I would go up to your type, once you've chosen type mask, and you want a font that's really nice and simple and bold. You don't want one that has pieces cut out of the letters, like some kind of pattern on it, or that's made up out of outlines. You don't want one that's super thin. I don't mind if you download fonts, but go ahead and just follow along with choosing one for now, and you can go back and look for a font to download after if you want to do that. I'm going to pick Poplar because it's nice and bold, and it's also kind of condensed. The letters aren't super wide. And I'm going to position my cursor, and I'm going to click, and then I'm going to type my first letter. I'm going to use all caps for this. I don't have to go in order. If I think there's a particular shape of letter that's going to work good for my picture, I could go ahead and pick that. I'm going to spell out Bari, so I've got the choice of B-A-R or I. I don't think it really matters here. I'll just go ahead and use my B. Now my font right now is giant because I was on the last picture I was on in the last demo. I was working with a really big picture, so I'm actually going to drop that size down to maybe to 200. That's still going to be too big for this picture. 150. Yeah. So for each one, it's going to require a different size. Your goal is to get the letter as big as possible without being cut off the edge. So I've gone to 100 now for this picture, and it's because it was small but with high resolution. To move the B around, I'm not going to try to click where the letter is. I'm going to try to click on the pink. This is the mask, and this will let me drag the letter. And this is pretty good size right now because it's very, very large, and but none of the B is being cut. So I'm going to click the check mark. And I'll get that selection marquee in the shape of my letter. Now I can move that by using my arrow keys. And I can just kind of click it over to just really pick the part of the picture that I really, really want. And you can just kind of try a few different things to see if there isn't something you find that you like the looks of. It's up to you, really. Once you like it, you'll use your Move tool and you'll drag the letter over and drop it. So I'm going to show that one more time. So if you missed it, just follow along a second time and maybe you'll get it that second time. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a new picture now. Go ahead and open up this little Fiat. And I'll pick my letter or my type mask tool. I'll probably have to size it. I think I'm going to have to make it larger, but that's okay. So I'll go ahead and do my A. I'll highlight it, and I'm going to make this a whole lot bigger for this picture. Try 300. It's still not too big, or big enough. 400. And I'll move it. And really, the bigger you can get the letter so that it shows more of the picture, I think the better. Unless it's a really big picture and, you know, there's just one certain part that you want. The goal is always that you can tell what you're looking at when you look at the letter and the picture. I can scoot that over or move it to where I want it to be. Just be sure you don't cut off some of the letter. And then when you're ready, Move tool, drag, drop. The letters are going to come in different size, so you are going to have to size them. And what you want to use is the rulers. And to do that, show your rulers. That's View, Rulers, or Command R. And we're going to use guidelines. And you guys haven't used those in here yet. So watch this so that you know how to get them. And basically, to get a horizontal guideline, I'm going to click in the white part of this ruler. And I'm going to go ahead and drag. And I want, you know, I don't know exactly what size my letters will be, but I'll just go ahead and maybe go in between a little bit so I can make them a little bigger. And then I'm going to just use a normal free transform to size these letters. So Edit, Free Transform, or Command T. Hold Shift so you don't warp. You might end up making some of the letters smaller, making some of the letters a little bigger. Always hold Shift. Do your best not to warp your letters. Okay, so I'm going to end this here, but you would continue on getting all of your letters, and then you would get a picture that you like for the background. And I'll come back and I'll do part 2 of this after I have my letters and my background.